It was probably either Jordan or Madison was like, I'm in a Coles and Landon song is playing.
Shout out to Coles. For whatever reason, Coles loves my music.
2017,
No, because I
18.
went through a breakup a week later.
Oh, that's
you
right.
met my ex-girlfriend on New Year's Eve.
On New Year's Eve.
And then,
and
a
then
week
we saw
later-
you a week later. I said, hey, where's your wife? And you had just broken up.
Canaan Show.
Hi, and welcome to the pilot episode of Canaan Show. The following is a conversation with Landon Austin. Landon was actually the very first person that came into the studio that we shot a live episode with. Some of the angles are off. You can probably tell that we've been trying to improve the studio as we've been moving forward. So this is kind of a look into what we very first had going on. There's also a little bit of lag in the video and stuff that you'll probably be able to notice, but again, it's one of our first episodes. So, but the conversation that I have with Landon, we talked about Bitcoin and a lot of fun industry conversation about how he releases his music and how he does his work. So I thought the conversation was still worth putting out. I just wanted to put it out a little late as to say that, you know, we're not always going to be doing it like this, but I really had a great time with Landon. And if you enjoy this conversation, maybe consider sharing it with one of your friends. If you'd like to support the channel, go ahead and subscribe. I really appreciate your interest, and I hope you enjoy this conversation with Landon Austin.
Canaan's Show. Canaan Show. Canaan Show.
For Canaan's new listeners, for Canaan Show, he's obsessed with the frisbee. You don't froth at all, right? You just do ultimate.
What do you mean froth?
Is it froth like frisbee golf?
Oh,
isn't that what they call it?
Dude, that's frothy monkey. What do you like?
No, froth is like, okay, since you played ultimate frisbee,
Okay.
do y'all look down on people who froth?
Play frisbee golf?
Yeah.
No, it's just completely different.
Okay.
It's like it's you like. So like ultimate is. It's so funny. It's like there's not another equivalency because most other sports, like it's based upon like the object, and like people see like a frisbee golf disc and an ultimate disc, and they're like, those are the same object. But to me, it's like seeing a baseball and softball and saying that those are the same object.
Right.
They're not.
No.
They're absolutely different things, and
No.
you do different things with them.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Like it's, and as far as like. I think there's a decent amount of cross-pollination between them, honestly, too. Because once you get, you know, these guys that are in their 30s that have been playing Ultimate for their...
Right.
I mean, they'll go out there and play.
Now, do you remember how we met? Like, really met?
Are you talking about with Tyler? Oh, you're talking about like back.
So back in the day, I was super lonely, and I would randomly join Facebook groups for stuff to do. And there's like Ultimate Frisbee Nashville or whatever on Facebook. And I joined. I was like, I'm going to go play. Yeah. Now, I don't know the first thing about Ultimate Frisbee. I just like to run around and be part of something.
I do remember this now.
So I went, and you were there.
I was there.
And then about 6 months later, I met you through Tyler. And
and because it was at New Year's, right?
Yes.
And it was like that summer.
It was
probably 2017
because I met you like New Year's Eve right before 2018.
Is that what it was? I can never remember if it was 2016-17 or if it was 2017-18. So it's 2017.
No, because I went through a breakup a week later.
Oh, that's
you
right.
met my ex-girlfriend on New Year's Eve.
On New Year's Eve,
and then
we saw you a week later. I said, "Hey, where's your wife?" And you had just broken up. You had just broken up with your girlfriend of 3 years, like the day after New Year's. And then I asked you about her as if she was your wife.
That question
a week later
hurt on so many levels.
But it was so funny because right as it left my mouth, actually right as where is, I could feel like that you were like, no. But it was too late, you know? Like you like even like once you feel that, it's like it doesn't matter.
The tension was there.
It's completely
No,
done.
It's kind of fortuitous that her and I broke up because as a result, you and I started hanging out.
That's true. I mean, and we say that, but it wasn't just us. Like back then, like the best thing about that little group of time was just like how randomly that actually worked out into where we got like a friend group out of nowhere.
I know. Like within a month of meeting you, I'm in Virginia with you, like visiting family.
Was that
friends.
a month later?
I mean, wasn't it January? That
because it was wasn't it for a New Year's party?
I just remember there was snow everywhere.
But that was the next year, wasn't it?
No, that was within like 2 weeks of meeting you guys.
No way.
We took a road trip together. And that's what did
Holy
it all.
moly.
Solidified our friendship.
Oh yeah.
That was very, very early on.
That was
within
very early
2
on.
weeks of meeting.
And then that whole summer, it was just like me, you, and Tyler and Jordan and Madison all hanging out. and then from there.
I know. Actually, something I was very excited about after meeting you is we had a 4th of July trip planned. And so we all got plane tickets. And I remember a friend of ours bought you some new shoes for your trip and bought you a plane ticket.
No, he didn't buy me a plane ticket. He did. He bought me new shoes, but that was because we were out at a. See, this is why I thought you were gonna make fun of me for. That's why I wore a collared shirt for this episode, and you're over here in a white t-shirt. Because
hey, I don't wear collars.
I like whenever you and I were very first meeting. Probably right after, like, I can't remember when this happened. Maybe this was just with, maybe you weren't even there. This might have just been with Tyler.
Okay.
Where I'm at a bar, like, he invited me to go out with him and some people, and I was like, whatever. And this was probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I was wearing, like, jeans, socks, and chacos, and a Sleepy Boy hoodie. And I went out like that. And I like met up with him, and he's Mr. LA. He literally just had moved here from LA.
Spiky hair.
Hair. Yeah, he was like 6 months away from French Tyler. Like that had just happened. Okay. And he's like, dude, I can't believe. Like it blew his mind that I was wearing chacos to like downtown.
I vaguely remember that story, even though I don't know if I was there.
I don't think you were. So that's why I was thinking about it. I was like, it feels like a thing that permeated with all of us, but like I don't think that in that instance, because you know who was there though? This is why I thought you were there. Oh man, I hope we can say this girl's name. If we can't,
I think I was there. I can't remember.
You might have been because, dude, do you know that girl named? Do you remember that Kea?
Yeah, I know Kea very well.
Yes,
I do music with her.
Yeah, okay.
I was totally there.
I was trying to remember her name. So she was there.
Yes, Kea.
Because she I just remember it was very funny because she was like, I can't believe that you do that, but also it's kind of great that you did. Like she was the only person that was like, no, that's fine. The fact that you did that is weird, but also kind of cool. Like so.
Hey, I'm just impressed with you if you're awake and it's daytime.
Oh,
so that the bar is low.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah. Are you working these days?
Yeah. I mean, let's say, what
do you do?
What do you mean by these days?
As in like 2021 April.
2021 April? No.
Oh, okay.
2021 March, yes.
Really? What were you doing?
I've been working in construction.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I think we talked about that.
Yeah, how's that?
I mean, it's been fine. It's just effort, dude. Like that's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just like brute
They just
force.
need people to do stuff.
Yeah, and like whenever you're doing stuff like this and like it's actually pretty nice to just kind of sit, like work and like think, I guess, and like not like your mental is not completely drained at the end of the day, even though your body is.
Yeah,
and that's kind of nice. I kind of like that. It was nice for me to be back, having worked full 8 hours at like 3 or 4 in the evening, and be tired physically, but like mentally still fine.
Yeah,
and then I could just go at night and do comedy. So
wow. So why don't you do that anymore?
I left that. It was more of like I'm trying to find one of those remote job things because now at this point I'm getting to the point where I want to like work from home and be able to kind of travel a bit more and do a little bit more. So and plus, if I'm being completely honest, I had some old Bitcoin money that I've been sitting on, and Bitcoin did really well. Have we never talked about this?
Wait.
So that's how this is bought for, by the way. Is some old
you
Bitcoin.
had some Bitcoin? When did you get this Bitcoin?
Just a little bit. Like to put it in context, I got the Bitcoin when Bitcoin was worth nothing, and I put $150 into it, right?
Okay.
And half of that total sum paid for all of this.
Okay. This could be a whole episode. I am obsessed with Bitcoin and the fact you're a Bitcoin millionaire.
No. But I do know some. But I do know some Bitcoin.
No, I know. We both know some
we
Bitcoin
both
millionaires.
Know some Bitcoin millionaires.
That's like Tyler's biggest regret. Our friend Tyler. The fact that he didn't make Bitcoin millions.
Oh, also, just so I almost keep forgetting that we're doing a podcast. But for people that might be listening, Landon and I and this guy that we keep bringing up named Tyler.
The one with the spiky hair from LA.
With the spiky hair from LA. We are good friends, and Tyler will be in here to do one of the first 5 episodes, probably. Cool. Probably 3 to 5.
Tell him I was the actual first.
The actual
just to
first.
Get to him.
But,
he'll hate that.
He knows. But probably soon after that, we're going to be starting a monthly segment.
Yeah,
hopefully,
I'm down.
With all 3 of us.
I'm down.
Tentative name, the monthly wrap. And it's just going to be like a consistent all 3 of us podcast.
Can we do, without telling Tyler, can we do an episode where we just dress up like him and don't address it?
I mean,
like LA,
like in which
like
we should
French
be
Tyler.
okay, exactly. This is what I
So
mean.
French Tyler, we need to explain this. So Tyler, he's like, he's one of my best friends. I love to pick
I mean,
on him.
Tyler is one of the kindest,
Yes.
best people that I know.
One of the best.
To be fair, so we
But
give him a lot of grief, but
we give
amazing.
all of each other, all three of us, give
Yes.
each other a lot of crap. That's kind of like my love language.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is why I think, especially back in whenever we first met, that was becoming more and more like taboo almost in a way.
I know.
And we were all like in weird flux places where we'd all just kind of like, I'd been in Nashville, but I just left college.
Right.
And you had just left a relationship, and Tyler had just moved back. He'd been to Nashville, but he just moved back.
Yeah,
so
from
everybody was kind of doing this thing where it was like this like different sort of atmosphere, and we were trying to find people.
Right.
And the best thing about it was just that we started talking to each other, and nobody got offended, and like we were just
Right.
It was just free and
it's very
nice
cathartic.
conversation.
'Cause you
It
can
is
say
very
whatever.
cathartic.
But I like to make fun of Tyler because about a year before I met him, he went through this phase that I call French Tyler, where he lived in LA, and so he grew his hair really long, but he completely buzzed the sides. But he almost looked like a Karen, where his hair was so long that it came down from the top to almost his chin, but his sides were buzzed. And then he had like a mustache and a goatee, and he wore glasses. And it's just so funny if you ever see a picture. I just call him French Tyler because he looked like a French guy.
I mean, it's sad, right? Because it's too accurate. Like it right when we all saw it, because the way that happened, like we were all like hang out, and someone pulled up an old picture of Tyler that of this era.
I was probably the one who pulled it up.
And it might have
'cause I'm
been you.
obsessed with
I
it.
don't remember who it was. I'm not going to name names. And then once someone goes French Tyler, everyone just like, it was just like, that's it. That's what you call that. That's what that
like
is.
I remember seeing that video where he had that haircut a year before I met him and being like, what is going on? Like, I can't wait till we're friends so I can make fun of him for that.
Well, okay. So let's talk a little bit also about like who you are to the tiniest degree, because
Okay.
I don't like doing this too much as far as like, also at the beginning of this isn't like, it won't just like roll into us just talking. I'll probably give like a small preface so that people will know that like, I'm not going to lie and tell people that you're a marketing major.
Right. Wow.
Like you tell everybody in the world. Dude, this is real. I go out to dinner or lunch with Landon Austin, and if we run into people, even if they are people that recognize him from his music online, he will just be like, yeah, I work in marketing. Like he doesn't like admitting out in the world that he's a streaming musician, a very successful streaming musician.
It's just a weird thing to talk about. Like
It's a hard thing to like have a shallow conversation about.
It is. So the big thing is we live in Nashville, right? So 99% of the time you meet someone, what do? Music. I write songs. I produce. Or whatever. And I just didn't want to be that guy because I'm not that guy. Like I was a finance major. Like I started selling insurance. I fell into music happenstance. It was a total God thing. Like I just fell into it. And now it's something I do, but it's not something that I'm like, hey, look at me, I'm this awesome musician. Because I don't feel that way. I just feel like a really fortunate guy who gets to do what he loves and make music. And, you know, I'm not a Bitcoin millionaire
but
like you.
No, I'm not. Not even close.
Bitcoin thousandaire?
No, I mean
Hundredaire?
I mean
Bitcoin. You got some tens.
I mean, I guess thousandaire technically.
Yeah, that's
by
right,
some
boy.
degree.
We're gonna come back to that.
We'll come back to that.
Okay.
I'm not leaving that. I was just like, I was forgetting. Now we're getting into this, and I haven't even addressed like who you are.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do music, but one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, you were on this like concept. I mean, 2015 probably, maybe before then.
I started 2011.
2011 of like you were starting music.
Yes.
But at what point in your career did you, because I know that we talk about this a lot, did you go, I am never going to tour and I never want to do a live performance and I don't like, because like you don't care. And this is something that is so crazy to me because I think you're so rare about this. Like you actually, it's not like you don't have that ego thing where you're like, I need to go and show out and perform.
Right.
Like you're cool with just making your music in your bedroom in your house.
Like that's my dream. So I started my career in music. I mean, I was in school and I would dabble. I would go tour and play shows when I was 18.
Right.
And I did it all the way from 18 to 26. I did a lot of college shows, which is fun. Like you go
and then
play,
you did the
then
little
you go to
pop-off
parties
thing in college with the Super Bowl Doritos thing.
Right. I did Doritos Crash the Super Bowl, which
Right.
is this big competition. I ended up getting second, which launched me. I did this thing called the Texas 10 under 20, and I like beat Casey Musgraves and Maren Morris in this competition, which is
Wow.
insane because they're like
That's so
amazing.
insane, especially now.
Especially now,
Like that's with time that just gets
like I want to
even
go
more.
back in time and slap the judges and be like, what the heck were you thinking? Like this makes no sense. So I beat them and that was crazy. And so I tour and I do everything you're supposed to do, right?
Right.
Like I'm playing shows and writing songs and then releasing videos to promote my content and get a following, and started making some money, which was awesome. And about 2016, I'm like, I just don't love being on the road. I'll go play weddings from time to time and people will book me for that. And still to this day, I'll go do that if it's the right fit. But for the most part, I just don't want to play out. Like, I just want to write songs, produce them, release them, and move on. That's it.
And I think that that's becoming kind of the new way that some people are doing it, whether they want to or not even.
Right.
Like, there are some people that are making music and they can maybe get, not to like the degree that you get streams, but like some level of streams, but they couldn't like get a live audience in front of them. But that's what they actually want. It's like, for whatever reason, they want that live audience. It's just so funny to me. Like, what does music do for you in the sense of like, because I think of it like this. Like, if I were to just write comedy in my room and like put it out on videos or whatever and never get a crowd response.
Right.
After having known what it feels like to have a crowd
It'd be
response,
unfulfilling.
It would feel like it would feel like I was just doing something different. It wouldn't feel bad.
Right.
It just wouldn't feel like the same thing.
So I'll give you an example. So like today, we were going to record this in the middle of the day, right?
Right.
Whenever I'm not at my desk working on music from 9 to 5, I feel like I'm missing out from like the best of what I can do and the best of what I want to do. When I go play a show, I feel like I'm wasting my energy, and I hate to say that, but it's true. Like, I would so much rather spend the energy creating music, because music for me is cathartic. It's therapy. It's like, okay, I went through this breakup, or I went through this awesome experience, and I'm going to write about it. And that's what I'm excited about more than going to play it live. Creating it is the thing that gets me excited.
So it's the
creation.
So what part of that is even your favorite? So like, because then this is the other interesting thing. Some people write songs, but you don't write songs. You will front to back an entire song.
Right.
And do every single part of it.
Right. I'll do it all. And the thing about it is, I'm not the typical like country songwriter who wants to write 2 songs a day for a publisher. Like, I don't even.
Is that what they do?
A lot of them.
They write 2 songs a day.
I know a bunch of guys who do that. They'll
Really?
sign a publishing deal and they're grinding, and I have so much respect for that. That is a
Is there
grind.
money in that?
Yeah, because if you get a cut, you can
so like if something gets picked up, as
right, like 90% of your songs probably won't do anything huge,
yeah.
but like the top 10% or 5% or even 1%, if they catch a big hit or whatever, it's a big deal. So for me, it's like I've kind of carved out this own path through the internet, through Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, where I put out songs every 2 weeks. And so I'm at my desk working on a new song. I upload it, move on to the next one, and just keep going.
So you've been on every 2 weeks for how long now?
Well, I was doing every week last year.
You did every week last year?
So what's actually a huge blessing.
And now, are these originals all or covers as well?
So it's a blend. It's original cover.
Because you very shockingly.
Yes.
So you shot. We'll wait for that.
Okay.
But you shot. You do a lot of your personal music that you write yourself, but
Yes.
you also do covers.
Yes.
So let's talk about the cover thing for a second.
Yes.
What does that do for you? Do you still like it as a thing that is mainly what is?
So when I started in 2011, that's what everyone was doing, like
Sure.
cover songs, like putting them out on YouTube. And I did my first cover as Pumped Up Kicks, and it got like 700,000 views on YouTube. My first video.
Wow.
I'm like, this is amazing. Probably made like 10 grand on iTunes. I'm like, what the heck? Like,
Dude, that's insane.
I like quit my valet job the next week. I'm like, I'm doing a cover every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I put out my first original song about 6 months later, and it crushed it. And so kind of the covers is like, it helps you grow. It helps you grow followers.
It helps you get to like that 10,000 sort of like the.
Yeah.
It helps you get to the point where you can swipe up on Instagram.
That's right. Shout out to Instagram for that. I didn't realize you needed 10,000 followers for that. So I'm like,
I've seen like 3 different people like switch between like 7 and 10 and then post like, I got to 10 and I can do the swipe up thing. So that's
up, people.
Exactly. So that's the only reason I even knew about that, is because I've seen people that have like I guess gained followers enough to the point where they get that.
Yeah.
I think you remember Jordan Grace?
Yeah.
The dancer girl?
Yeah.
I think she was one of those, because she blew up on TikTok.
Yeah.
I don't know if you paid attention lately.
No.
Dude, blew up on TikTok. And so now she's
Everyone's
got like...
blowing up on TikTok.
I know, so many people. I was just talking to a friend of ours named Aaron Weber last night, and we were just having a conversation. There's this local guy, me and him and Josh Black, this other comic in town, And Josh is currently doing very well on socials on like local Facebook stuff. It's like really insane. He's like really tapped into a local market for comedy. It's pretty insane.
That is insane.
It is really insane.
Who's
and
even on Facebook?
Okay, so here's the example. Last night we're at Red Door Saloon in Midtown, right? Josh, he doesn't have he I guess lost his ID or something, but he has a paper ID to like it's like the in between ID things that they give you at the DMV or whatever. And Red Door won't let you in with a paper ID. So he jumps the fence behind Red Door because this is like after the show. There's like 20 of us sitting here hanging. And so he jumps the fence to get into the spot, right? And then he goes up there, gets a drink or whatever. The only person that told him no was the bouncer outside. So he has no idea that he's in there.
Yeah.
So he gets in there, he goes in there, gets a drink, whatever. We're all sitting down there for half an hour. And then at some point, this dude just walks up and goes, "Is there a Sir Joshua Black over here?" And that immediately rung something because I was like, that's his Instagram handle. Yeah. I was like, why is he saying it like that? and then he goes, "Yeah, that's me, but I didn't get anything." And he just sets a plate of food down in front of him and goes, "Dude, check your DMs. Thanks for doing what you do."
No way.
Swear to God, dude. And this is like a dude that a year ago was like literally, 250 people on Instagram, sort of like
awesome
like normal
feeling.
comic open micer sort of thing. And it just happened in front of all of us, like right there.
That's even better that it happened in front of y'all.
Yeah.
Like for him.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Is insane.
Dude, and it's so funny too, because another friend of ours named Brad, all these guys hopefully will eventually be on the show, but Brad Sativa. You've met Brad.
I've met Brad.
You've met Brad.
I've met Brad.
And you know how Brad is. He's so puffed. Yes. And so we like right when they said this one, yeah, you could just tell he wasn't mad, he wasn't pissed, but he was just like, "Yo, like where's mine at?" Like that sort of thing.
He's checking his DMs.
Because Brad's been kind of doing his thing for a little while.
Yeah, Brad's really good.
Brad's great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he's really good.
But yeah, so all that to say, local Facebook. Where did I go off on the tangent for?
So we were talking about what I do musically, and then we got into that. And
local fame, Facebook, 10,000 followers.
Yeah, swipe up.
What were we on right before right before 10,000? We got back to like how we got to this.
Well, I guess we were talking about covers.
Oh, covers. That's
covers.
It.
Yeah.
So okay, yeah. So you did the cover thing to basically get to your 10,000 sort of thing,
yes.
like off the top, and then your first original. You said it was 6 months after that?
Yeah, and it blew up and did really well. So I'm the kind of mindset is release a bunch of covers, release an original, rinse and repeat, play some shows. As time progresses, I built up a following, quit playing shows, and still release some covers here and there because I think I've kind of made a name for myself in the cover acoustic space. And
Sure.
so like a lot of them get picked up on Spotify acoustic playlists. A lot of them get put on satellite radio, Sirius.
Okay.
So it's like,
Because
you know what I mean?
I remember somebody, I can't remember who it was. It was probably either Jordan or Madison, was like, "I'm in a Coles and Landon's song is playing."
Shout out to Coles. For whatever reason, Coles loves my music. I don't get it. It's pretty awesome.
It is. That is pretty funny.
And then you get paid for that. So
and plus, this is one of my favorite things that I like about you is that you are not the type of person that will take a successful musical route and like shit on it. You won't be like, "No," or like whatever. Like you like the perfect example I always think of is that anime music thing.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Please talk about this because this to me is like I think that a lot more musicians should do this because once you explained what it was, it made perfect sense.
Well, I make nightcore music.
Nightcore, that's what it's called.
So nightcore is essentially, I don't even really know what it is, but I learned about it because I have a song called Armor that I wrote.
Uh-huh.
And I noticed on YouTube these kids were speeding it up like 20 times, and it sounds like Chipmunks, Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Right.
And they put it to like anime cartoons, and these videos would have 100 million plus views. And you have to understand, that's like,
that's so much money.
So much money.
That
it's probably
so
like
much money.
$2 to $3 grand every million.
100. How many views does your channel have?
Oh, not that many.
100 million? You wouldn't even say? Not even.
I don't think so,
dude. Because that's what I'm saying is like that is so.
It's so much.
So much.
And the cool thing is, I have content ID through YouTube that they gave me a few years ago. So I run ads on these videos.
Right.
And it could be thousands of dollars a month from kids just speeding up my songs and putting them on YouTube.
Yeah, that's insane.
So I started making my own of my music,
right.
like and putting it out there.
This is what I love.
And then they start listening to it and streaming it. So now I like make Nightcore out of all my music, and I have a big Nightcore Spotify account called Nightcore Dreams.
How many followers is on that?
Oh, it's probably got like 70,000 monthly listeners.
Oh my God, dude.
But it's
that is so hilarious.
Every song has like half a
million
plays.
But this is exactly what I don't understand about like music right now.
Right.
With I don't understand why there aren't more people doing this.
I
Like
think-
what the version of this that you're doing, which because I really don't know. Like I feel like we know all of them in Nashville,
Right.
and there's not that many.
I would say this. I'm very good at keeping my ear to the ground about opportunities. So
Okay.
anytime I see any opportunity, I'm going after it.
Okay.
And 99% of the time they fail. But every once in a while they take off. So like I made the Nightcore stuff and I do a bunch of other things. I have a
So is there something along like that Nightcore equivalent of like something that you tried that didn't work out? Like what, like any weirdness or any
I'm trying to think. Oh, I made like sleep music.
sleep music?
So like music
like-
you can sleep to,
like
ambient, like
yeah.
you're getting a massage and like and that has like 50 listeners a month. So I would say that's not a big success.
Okay.
My biggest one is like 20,000 plays.
Okay.
So it's not that much money. And
Sure.
like I tried that. I made music for Twitch streamers. So it's like
interesting.
music
because now they have like the whatever the
DMCA
DMCA
takedowns
that's what
and all
it
that
is.
stuff. So I have an account called Streamable Music where you can stream my music in the background of your Twitch and you won't get claimed or in trouble.
That's
And
nice.
like that's done okay.
Okay.
But like I'm doing all that stuff. And then I have a royalty site. I don't know if I told you about this. It's called Royalty Market.
No. Well, I remember we did two things. One, the Twitch thing, and a lot of these things is like the one great thing about online entities like this is like it's there for all time.
Yeah.
So in 10 years, like some dude might just like your thing, and then it has 100 million things.
That's what's crazy.
That's
about
the most
Spotify.
insane. Like, because I remember you said that about what you're the one that told me that sort of thing about music.
Right.
You're like, yeah, you put something like that out, you never know. It
Bro.
might not be right now.
It's crazy. Like I'll have a song that I released 6 years ago that'll get picked up on satellite like this month, and then you get a massive report like 3 months from now, and you're like, how the heck did that song just blow up? It's been out
Right.
forever. And that's why I like spending my time doing things. It's essentially intellectual property. So
Right.
I like spending my time on things that can earn money passively, that you can get that sleep money. And like you put out a bunch of songs and you never know if 10 years from now they take off. And as a result of that, like there's these hedge funds that come in and want to offer you. Have I told you about this?
Are you talking about for your catalog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they
Well,
come
because
in-
I remember you and Tyler both got an offer like right around probably after a year of us knowing all
Right.
each other, and you guys both got like a
So
catalog offer.
our buddy Tyler, I actually connected with him the beginning of 2018, late 17, because a hedge fund had offered me. I say hedge fund. It's more like a just a bunch of investors.
Investment group, basically.
Investment group. That's
Yeah.
what it is. They offered to buy my catalog, and they're doing this where they're going through Spotify and finding independent artists and offering to buy their masters. And in return, what they'll do is they'll take your past year's earnings, times it by 5, and offer you a check. So if you made $100,000 last year, they'll offer you $500,000, and then you sell it off for good or whatever. And they're buying this stuff up because they anticipate this stuff making money forever.
Right. Someone just is like looking at your music and going, I'm willing to bet $500,000
Right.
that this will make more in the next
More than
5
$1 million
years than $500,000.
Yeah, totally.
Like,
and that's what they do.
and that's like a big risk, and like it almost implies the fact that you shouldn't do it, and the fact that there's an
100%.
offer.
100%. I will say it's really hard to pass on a massive check like
Dude.
that.
I remember both of you feeling
Bro.
not like you weren't stoked about having to just go no millions.
No,
Like,
the
that's
thing
such
that
an
makes
insane
the thing that makes me sick is the deal was in late 17. If we had taken that money and bought Bitcoin, oh my gosh,
Oh,
Bro.
dude, you'd be so
we'd
rich.
be on a boat right now. I'd be like a yacht.
Well,
or something.
I'll say this about Bitcoin, because we can come back to Bitcoin.
I want to hear
a
your
little
Bitcoin.
bit. Bitcoin right now, to me, is not like the thing you should be buying.
What's the thing you should be buying?
Bitcoin Cash.
I hate that you say that. Why?
What do you mean why? I'll explain why, because
don't
I know
see
you
the-
don't know why.
I don't see the argument for that. I've never seen a good argument for that. If you said Ethereum, I'd be like, you're on something.
So why do you think Ethereum is good?
Because Ethereum is what everyone uses to buy NFTs. It's becoming very in vogue to utilize Ethereum. Like, did you know that Lena? So did you see this, Lena, the girl who was the overly obsessed girlfriend? Remember from the meme?
Oh, yes, you've talked about her before.
But okay, I met her at a YouTube
Yeah,
conference a few
yeah.
years ago. Well, how about 2 nights ago, she sells an NFT of her original picture for $400,000. $400,000 worth of Ethereum. And now, granted, the price of Ethereum.
Of Ethereum.
So that means
That's
if
not bad. Ethereum's probably going to be good for another year.
I was
but-
going to say, if she hasn't sold
here-
her Ethereum,
here's-
it's worth even more now.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Bitcoin Cash is Ethereum. Like, you know how like part of the thing that Ethereum is good about is that it can kind of like add in like other information along with packets.
Right. It's all about the blockchain technology.
Bitcoin Cash has that capability as well, and people haven't yet realized that. And there are very few people that do, such as our Bitcoin billionaire friends, and they are the ones that are, you know, in my Signal DMs going, "Hey, by the way, these idiots are out here spending $60K on this thing that is probably about as tapped out as it's going to be."
Right.
But in, you know, next year, whenever they figure out that you can do prediction markets and everything else with Bitcoin Cash that you think that you'd want to do with Ethereum, but it's going to be way faster, way easier, way more efficient with Bitcoin Cash, then everyone's going to like really.
So if you took your portfolio and put it in percentages, what percentage is Bitcoin Cash?
Currently?
Yeah.
98.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're that big of a believer in Bitcoin Cash?
Dude, like I've not listened to certain people too many times. I could be a millionaire.
If you listened, yeah.
If I had really, really, really believed and really, really, because I looked at it back in the day and I was like, God, man, this makes a lot of, regular Bitcoin. And I was like, this makes a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense.
Okay.
And back in the day. And I remember like also just like trying to find the things and the reasons of like it almost like as much sense as that it made, you can't see the future and you can't imagine everything else around the world and what it takes for like something like Bitcoin to come into culture or anything like that. So you never know. Like it's hard to say no.
Yeah, you
right?
never know.
So you can't ever know. But yeah, that I think that this time it feels too reminiscent. It feels too reminiscent of people are hot on the thing that they think that they're supposed to be hot on.
Right.
And it's like you got to remember the people that are rich off Bitcoin are the ones that hit the wave in 2011.
Right.
2011 was the wave where if you got it right around there and or like basically before the 2014 wave.
Right.
If you got it between 2011 and 2014, obviously if you got it before 2011, I mean those people before 2011 are the people like Alex Jones that have like I saw on some interview. Apparently, he has a computer somewhere with 10,000 Bitcoin sitting on it.
Alex Jones,
yeah, that he doesn't have a passport.
Jones?
Yeah, the Frogs Gay guy, the Frogs Gay guy. I saw some clip of him.
What?
And he has this is like so many people.
But can he get into it?
No.
Oh, so he doesn't have access
to
it.
And then they did the math, and it was like half a bill or something like that. Like, it was an absurd amount.
So did I tell you my 2011 Bitcoin story?
No.
It's not.
Oh, I didn't know you were. Noted about Bitcoin.
I knew about Bitcoin back then, and it was $300 a coin. I'll never forget. And I'm sitting down. It's over Thanksgiving break at my parents' house, and I'm about to buy a coin. And they didn't have Coinbase. You had to do some ghetto site.
Exactly. So that was the biggest thing about not wanting to put money into it back then was that it wasn't like the Coinbase efficiency that we see.
And I'm
now.
like reading about wallets and all this stuff, and I figured it out. And when it comes to pull the trigger, I pull out my credit card to buy it on this site, but they didn't take Amex. And I'm like, I'll do it later. And that was it. Literally it. But you know what? As much as that sucks, I'm kind of thankful it didn't work because I would have totally sold when it hit 1,000 or 5,000. I'm not the guy who would have held.
See, this is okay. So
and that would hurt even more.
That was one thing that was very fortunate about the amount of money that I put in because I was in college. Right. I barely had any money. Right. I put a little bit of money in and I said, I'll see you in 5 years. Like I literally just didn't even care. It was like such a tiny amount of money. It was a couple $100.
Right.
And then I remember this past fall, I'd almost forgotten. I knew that I had some in an account. How do you almost forget? Hold on. No. When I say I almost forgotten, I just not done the math in years. Like I knew that I had bought some Bitcoin and that it was sitting there.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I didn't want to even think about it because I wanted to eventually use it for something. Mm-hmm. And so late last year was like kind of like the precipice of this concept of like this wanting to do a podcast, do Canaan Show. So I was talking to some friends about it, and Bitcoin had just hit like the last spike that hit it like back in September or something like that. Mm-hmm. There was some big spike, and I was talking
it's like up to 20 or something.
Yeah. And I was talking to some friends, and they go, "Well, don't you have some?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's in an account. I have to switch a password. I haven't even checked it in years." And they're like, "How much is in there?" I was like, "I don't know." I thought it was a couple hundred. Last fall, it was like almost $4,000. And then like that was when Bitcoin's value was at like 17.
And it's more than doubled, yeah.
But then at some point I moved it from Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash a few months ago. Moved out to do something else.
So, okay, Bitcoin, to me the argument for that, the technology is probably not as good. I know that. But
yeah, the branding for it is phenomenal.
The branding is amazing. It's the first one in the space.
First one.
That is invaluable.
Like the fact that it's like not a sub branch of a thing that would already exist would be very nice.
The fact that you can buy a Tesla with Bitcoin, that you can use it on PayPal, all the institutions are adopting it.
To be fair, just so you know, Amazon, Microsoft, all of these companies have had the capability of taking Bitcoin since about 2013. Built into their systems, and they decided to never launch it.
No way.
I swear to God.
Well, I would say now the marketing is amazing. Yeah. They're accepting it publicly.
The fact that Elon just did that might be putting some pressure now. But once you do that, then it's just going to become a slippery slope, because this is exactly what can happen. I mean, wait, what if Amazon releases its own coin? It's like you know what I mean? Like once you start diversifying, that's why to me, it's like almost at some point in the next few years, we got to just pick one.
I know.
At least for the nation. Like, I get it. There's like,
but don't you feel like the argument would be Bitcoin? Like, that's the one that people know. The branding's great.
No, not on a national level. Because you should say Bitcoin Cash, because all you'd say is it's everything Bitcoin is, except it's stronger and it's more capable of doing like an entire, like it could actually hold an entire infrastructure as far as like using it as like a daily currency sort of thing. It could probably actually do that versus Bitcoin at a higher efficiency and like safer and more like trackability. Like it would just be there's a lot more that you can even do with it past that I'm not even smart enough to even really get into the dynamics of. Like there's prediction market stuff that some friends of ours are working on that.
Okay, so I'm gonna go home tonight. I'm gonna buy some Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah.
And then 10 years from now.
Well, I mean, it just spiked like 18%. Don't buy it today. It's just spiked like 20% in the last 2 days.
Okay, I'll DCA into it.
Yeah.
And then 10 years from now, if it makes me a millionaire, I'll buy you dinner.
There you go.
I
think that'll be worth it.
So what do you think then about NFTs? Because in my mind,
Useless.
they're completely
Stupidest.
worthless.
The few people that are right now making money, thank God for them. Like
Lena.
Yeah, like the artist. Like any artist that's right now taking some rich guy for a JPEG for $500,000.
Right.
Cool, dude. Like you got him.
But as a buyer, you have to be an idiot to buy that.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes no sense to me.
It feels very silly. I mean, like, I don't know. Like some people have so much money that throwing a few mil at a digital asset that in the smallest likelihood could hold its value.
No way. There's no way.
You don't think so, right? It doesn't feel like it can.
The only benefit I see, which is actually good for musicians, I could see like Kings of Leon did an NFT album, and then when you buy this NFT album, you get like bonus songs. Like it's kind of gimmicky. But
it's not. Yeah, but then that's just methodology. It's just like it's like where you check out. It's like if you get it from Target, you get it
totally.
Bonus track.
That's not something where you'd resell it. No. And it would gain value.
Yeah, no.
But like maybe you could buy an NFT and it make you a member, like a Patreon or something. But like
I could see. I don't know. Like it feels like just a weird technology, like a weird use of technology. Like there's no. It seems so close to being useful, but it's like not quite.
I agree with you.
You know 100%. What I mean? Like I can see how people are being deceived into the idea that
people are buying useless crap with it.
Yeah,
but it makes me want to sell one. I just don't know what to sell. Like I could sell like a song, like the once in a lifetime NFT, and you own the only copy. But you don't own the master of the song because I don't want to actually give you that.
Yeah, no, you would never give away your master. That would be insane.
But like, is there a way to do that with songs?
Like I guess, yeah. Or like any type of art. Like the only type of art to me that makes sense for is literally like picture art. Is like traditional art.
Right. But still, you can like go Google the image and drag it to your desktop. Like, why do you have to own a JPEG? Like, you can't monetize that unless you resell it. You can't like charge someone every time they use it. It's like,
okay,
JPEG.
Like imagine this. Like, okay, so perfect example. You see these art pictures right here? This is my friend Laura. She does this art. It's digital art. Like, what would be cooler to you if you were like the biggest fan of Laura? Would it be the fact that like you got an NFT of like the original file that she worked on to draw that, or would it be if you got the tablet that she drew it on?
I'd rather have the tablet.
Exactly.
Like I'm a big fan of John Mayer, right? And if he's like, I'm going to release the lyric sheets that I wrote in NFT form, I'd be like, I don't give a crap.
Yeah. Like it just doesn't feel like
if you'll mail me the actual lyric sheet, that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't, the virtual,
It's like I would rather just see that on your Instagram story. Like, take a picture if you want to show it. If you don't, like, whatever, that's fine. Like,
people are into it, so
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, NFTs. That's not really my NFTs.
I'm just amazed that you bought Bitcoin and held on to it.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it was so funny to me because everyone said to do that. Mm-hmm. Not like it's not like that's insane advice. Just nobody followed it.
I don't know. I don't
like 0 people actually just bought Bitcoin in
Right.
2013 or whatever 2014, whenever I bought it, and then just held on to it until 2020, 2021.
Well, like you and I have a mutual friend. I don't even know if it's worth saying their name, but they apparently got paid in Bitcoin for their job back in. Like,
yeah.
what
I'm
year
glad
was
that you've picked up who we've been talking about because I don't want to like name him very much.
I don't want to name him either,
Yeah,
but he was a friend of ours.
Yeah.
He was a big believer in Bitcoin, and,
Yes.
and prior to meeting him, he worked at a job that paid him in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Back in what year, if you had to guess?
So we went to college at the same time in 2012. We both did our freshman year of college.
Right.
And then he dropped out of his freshman year and started working in the summer of 2013.
Oh, I didn't know that.
As an internship. But by that fall of 2013, he was taking every check in Bitcoin.
That is so much faith. So much faith to get paid.
Yep.
And if he held on to that, that's bukus.
What do you mean
money.
if?
He did.
Oh, bro.
He paid for some very
Dude.
expensive.
He
college
left
with
that company a few years ago, and he hasn't gotten another job. Like, there's a reason that I'm this confident about Bitcoin Cash, and it's because guess who's working on it, bro?
Him and his brother.
No, just him.
Just him. Oh.
Yeah. No, like the other one, he wasn't on like the computer science side of Bitcoin.
Okay.
He was on like the front end side of Bitcoin.
That's a once in a generational opportunity. And
you know what's the most insane thing about this guy?
What?
You know what his grandfather did? Invested in Google as a penny stock.
Oh my gosh. Their genes, like,
It's pretty crazy,
so
bro. It
good
is
at
pretty crazy. Like, well, I remember hearing that story back in, I don't know, probably early 2000s.
oh my gosh.
Or no, I guess not early 2000s.
Because
But
Google came into existence in 96 maybe?
yeah, I think when would you have started making like insane money off of Google stock?
Well, I
Probably
mean, it's
2005. I mean, not now, but I mean, like
yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
Like you probably
yeah.
like 2005.
Early
that would have been
O's.
if you were penny stock Google.
Oh, yeah.
If you were holding it 2005, you were.
Oh my gosh, this family.
I know, dude. It is any bit of intelligence that I believe I have. I talk to this guy and I just get it sapped right out of me. I'm like, no.
Fine, you convinced me. I'll go buy some Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, well, because also that's all he's been working on for a year is on that, and basically he's the one that's proving that this thing is as good as Ethereum. Like, this is the level that this dude's moving at.
I like Ethereum too, though.
It's not bad. It's not.
Do you
bad.
have Ethereum?
No,
Really?
no, because it's not Bitcoin. And plus, like, I don't trust it in the same way for whatever reason. Like, it's something about the legacy of Bitcoin to a certain degree. Like, I immediately owned Bitcoin Cash because there was a split of Bitcoin whenever Bitcoin Cash was created, and you actually got equal parts Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash.
I didn't know that.
So that's how far back I've been holding my Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Was there was a split back in the day, back whenever Bitcoin Cash was created, and so they didn't want to basically ruin everybody that had done well on the Bitcoin space and make them rebuy in. So it's like, listen, this is a starting off. It's a copy. So if you go back and you look at like the very beginning of the Bitcoin Cash like value chart, it just like it starts out like this, and it's at like a few $100s, and then it goes up to like $4,000,
Wow.
and then immediately right back down because
Yeah.
it was like it got overly inflated because everybody like already had it. And my one happiness is that I was never paying attention enough to try to sell on that point, but
Right.
it probably wouldn't have been bad because Bitcoin Cash stayed down in value after that. I mean, to a couple $100s.
Wow.
And then now it's sitting at like 630 or something like that. But
I think it's just frustrating because like buying crypto is like buying penny stocks. There's so many that are just worthless.
yeah,
That people
I mean,
trade
dude,
around.
but some people apparently, I've been having some friends, especially last year during COVID, that are like trading like I don't understand who thinks that they can read like a
a crypto chart?
Yeah, a crypto chart and like pretend to know what is about to happen.
Okay, speaking of that, weren't you day trading for a minute?
For a hot second. I mean, why day trading? I was always kind of like, I guess I was always speaking past what I wasn't like day trading. I was kind of learning how to day trade
Okay.
because there was during COVID, I was like, it was like right when everything had shut down, and I was like, well, comedy stuff is like not even a thing to really even consider at the moment. Of like, there was nothing even to do.
Right.
So I was like, well, how can I spend some time? Maybe I'll just bank up some money or something. And I thought about like no-lifing into doing some day trading and just like working really hard at doing that, trying to make some money. I did it for a few weeks and I learned enough about it to like, just dude.
Yeah, it's way too.
It's a lot. And like here's the thing is like once you get into day trading, there's a certain level of you have to stay in day trading. And if you leave for like a month and you come back, like everything's different.
I know.
Like not that everything's different, but everything's different.
Bro, okay.
You know what I mean?
I agree. At my core, I'm an index investor.
Okay.
Like a conservative 7% return, I'm good
Sure.
with that.
Right.
I do some real estate, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Conservative, but still make some money.
Right.
But I did buy into some meme stocks. Like I
Oh,
bought into
did
some
you do me?
GameStop. I'll say this. That was the most fun 2 weeks ever until when the bubble burst. And
Well, then it unburst.
I know. Then GameStop shot back up, and I still have a few. I held on Diamond Hands forever, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But what really bit me was all the other meme stocks like BlackBerry, and I bought my first call option. I've never lost $2,000 quicker. Like,
Yeah, I mean, and that was also what I was looking into a lot was like calls and puts and things. Oh boy,
Bro.
that's a. I mean, as far as like a thing where you can make so much money so fast, that is real. You can lose so
But
much
you
money.
lose some money
You can
very
lose some
fast,
money
dude.
so fast.
do
Dude.
you ever read Wall Street Bets?
Yeah. Well, I mean, used to. Not so much. It's not like an everyday thing. Like the biggest stuff. I mean, obviously the GameStop stuff and some stuff. Yeah. I mean, I know what it is.
I'll say this. There are some people who make some insane gains. I'm not even jealous of them because I know realistically 99% of those guys are losing their shirt on stuff. And that
What do you
to
mean?
me,
What do you mean?
like they'll lose like $100,000 just like that.
I see.
Because they're gamblers at their core. I
mean,
mean, they're like a
dude,
casino.
I mean, that's what you always see in all those posts, and like how the craziest ones to me are those posts where those guys just post their losses.
I know. And they like cheer each other on for losing so much money.
Wow, that's
so
so
much
weird. That to me is like the weirdest one.
But you know what?
It's like tragedy porn.
It's exactly
it's
that.
so weird.
But that encouraged me so much to stay the course, keep buying index funds, not even think about it. Because I'm telling you, man, it's fun. It's fun to make a lot of money quickly, but it hurts so much more than it feels good to lose it. You know what I mean? Like the low of losing it for me.
There's a phrase for that.
It's like a mentality of human nature where it's like almost more painful to lose money than it feels good to make it.
There's a psychological thing called that. There's a name for it.
Yes.
I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's basically like, would you rather gain $100 or not lose $100? And everyone would say not lose.
100%. Because that'll
time.
haunt me.
Yeah.
Like me and Tyler had a bet recently. And he won. I had to pay him $100.
Yeah.
Like, that hurt for like a week.
Yeah, he did.
So painful. It just sucked.
And the funniest thing about that, really, and maybe one day that this will be okay, he didn't even want to win in the end.
No, he didn't. We'll talk about that later. But that losing the money hurts way more than it feels good to make it.
Yeah.
I hate that.
It does. Like there's a bitterness to to something getting taken from you that is not as potent as getting something.
I know.
Like for yourself, which is seemingly insane.
I know. What does that say about human nature?
Like it just says like we value the things we have more than the things we could have. At a base level, that's what it seems like.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I believe that.
I mean, it's like, well, and like animal instinct, that kind of makes sense. It's like you got to think, if we spent a decent amount of time as animals before we were ever people, at some point, basically with language and consciousness, we figured out time. And so with time, then you can go, the future matters enough to where we want to work towards that. But in our, lizard, monkey, whatever you call that type of your brain, lizard, monkey brain, it's just, all it is like what I have right now is all I need to be alive. And if I lose it, I might die.
I was watching this Netflix documentary, like one of these mini docu shows, and they're talking about, I can't remember what this was called, but the idea of the phenomenon was it's like the knowledge of the crowd. So they showed like 100 people a jar of jelly beans, and each person had to guess how many jelly beans were in the jar. And the average of the 100 guesses was very close to the right answer. And apparently there's this phenomenon where when you take a bunch of people, the average of their answers is correct.
You know what? Did you see that thing that Chipotle tried to do?
No.
on April Fool's Day?
Oh, I saw it where you get Bitcoin if you like.
No. Did you actually read what they were trying to do?
No.
It was actually pretty clever. I won't lie.
What?
Because you know how I was talking about. This is the other story that I was thinking about earlier. The story about Alex Jones like leaving Bitcoin on a computer.
Yeah.
Apparently, the CEO of Chipotle has this same story.
A lot of people do.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
And apparently, the CEO of Chipotle has the same story of like there's a bunch of Bitcoin on a computer somewhere, or that he has, but he doesn't know his password. So the Chipotle thing for that day was you got 10 shots at a 6-digit password. And they would, I'm assuming they're accumulating all of those guesses to work them through this thing.
That's so smart.
I mean, if you have the company to do that and you can get like all these automated responses like that, it almost feels more realistic that an encryption wouldn't hit it before like just the randomness of a human guess would.
It's all of our minds. Like you would think of a human password as opposed to a computer
Right,
password.
because a human made it. Like he wasn't so intentionally trying to be non-human in that moment.
Right. This password, yeah. It's got to be a common phrase or something. But
but apparently it was just 6 numbers, so that was the difficulty. But even within that, like even within choice of numbers, there's like a human variable.
So
like,
my question is, there were multiple stories when Bitcoin took off in the past few months of people who had that same experience. Like one guy in the UK, like he knew his wallet or whatever was buried in a dump somewhere. So he offered the city if they would let him dig it up to split the money with them some kind of percentage, and they told him no. But there was another guy who had one more guess left before all his Bitcoin was gone forever. Something about his wallet would self-destruct. I don't know why that is. So
well, back in those days, there was a lot of wallets. I mean, some wallets were scams. Like, if I'm being honest, like back in those days, I'm sure that there was. It just wasn't as streamlined as it is now. Like people actually really still don't understand what Bitcoin is. Like at a base thing, they just downloaded Coinbase and they see gains and they're excited. Like it's like Coinbase made Bitcoin into Robinhood, right? And that's great, but like. For the people that don't know, like back in the day, it was not that easy.
It was the Wild West.
It was the Wild West of not only getting Bitcoin, it was like
storing
from where it was at to like where it would send once you bought it, and then where you'd want to keep it were all different places.
Right.
So you would have it in a place to buy it from, and then once you'd buy it, it would go to like a different place, and then from that place. It was like you couldn't keep it there, otherwise it would get stolen or lost or whatever. So then you had to put it into a new place. So that it was like you had to move it all, and none of these things were cohesive. It was like it was the most, and so many people like there is just, which is one of actually, if I'm being honest, one of my favorite things about the Bitcoin Cash thing, because if you think about this, if you scale it right, if you were to say Bitcoin is our national currency or a national currency, not even America's per se. If you could ever find an exploit within Bitcoin that only you knew about, let's just say, not to say that is realistic,
like
I don't think it is, but regardless, or you could do a lot with how much of like random Bitcoin is lost right now. There's not nearly as much cash lost because cash didn't come out until 4 or 5 years after.
Right. Is there still a finite amount?
And they're still fine. I mean, it works the exact same. It's the exact same setup. And I'm pretty sure it's even on the layouts of like mining and everything to a pretty similar degree. And
yeah, I keep Bitcoin got a hardware wallet, cold storage, lock it up in a safe, throw away the key, that kind of thing. But I wouldn't even know how to spend it if I wanted to. Because I guess
spend the Bitcoin?
Yeah. That's
like,
my
like
issue.
with Bitcoin, you mean?
Yeah, like let's say I wanted to go buy something with Bitcoin. I wouldn't even know how to spend the Bitcoin I have.
So that was actually what our friend that we were talking about, that was his whole deal. So that's why I know that like companies like Microsoft and Facebook and all these companies, they had back in the day, I'm sure they definitely have them now, portals to where that they could accept Bitcoin. It's not terribly difficult.
Yeah. And
there was companies that did exactly that. That was like that was like their whole point. They were like basically there's companies like one called BitPay that were basically like almost like credit card companies for Bitcoin. But it was like wallet management / like they back in the day, these people were very, very needed because what we were talking about before of like where your Bitcoin would just be kind of out in the ether, they could kind of track all that down, hold it for you, and actually do something with it. Hold it like a bank would to that degree of safety. But yeah, like that's just as far as like you almost don't need. It's so weird because it's a currency, but you treat it almost like it's like an investment, like a stock.
Right.
Even though it's not. It is just a currency.
Which is very volatile.
It's very volatile. It makes it It makes it difficult.
That's what makes it a difficult thing to be a currency right
and
now,
plus, well, the biggest thing too is like people, once they accept a certain type of thing, like the Bitcoin thing is like, now you're on Team Bitcoin. And like Elon's been on Team Bitcoin. So that doesn't really matter. But there are some people that are not Team Bitcoin, like the Federal Reserve.
right. That's true.
And
they're going to be Team US coin before
yeah. And so like if they...
But they're going to keep printing as many as they want because that's the way the government works.
It's these terrible Keynesian
Which completely
economics.
works against what we're trying to do with Bitcoin. The fact that it's finite makes it valuable.
And then people will try to be like, oh, well, isn't the decentralization of Bitcoin, isn't that scary? Like, isn't that scary that like it has to be on a million different servers in a million different places for it to work? And it's like... I don't think you understand what the word scary means.
No.
If anything,
the fractional
that
reserve is
screams
scary.
Comfort to me.
Yes.
Like the fact that one guy can go, hey, here's an extra few $1 billion in the
just because I signed a piece of paper.
That to me is scary. Because what that means actually is some dude standing in an office somewhere, not knowing you or your situation, can take everything of value, of monetary value, and make it less.
Yes. It's a hidden tax that we don't ever talk about.
Dude,
they print more money, we lose money.
I mean, we're about to, but I mean, I think that people will start to learn a little bit because we printed so much money in 2020 that we're not going to be able to not feel that.
We printed what, 20% of all the dollars we have last year?
Insane.
But to kind of sidestep, I think it's so funny because a lot of people bought Bitcoin for Secret Road back in the day, which was the site where you could buy drugs.
You know about Silk Road?
Silk Road. Silk Road. Secret Road's a music publisher. Silk Road. And what's
Fun
funny,
fact, one little thing.
Was that how you got your Bitcoin? You were buying
No.
Silk Road?
Silk Road, the guy that made Silk Road.
Yeah, Pirate Roberts or whatever.
So our friend consulted his mom as her security consultant.
No.
Because he was also at one point back in... So you got to understand, this guy is big enough... This is why I don't want to say his name. It's because he's big enough into Bitcoin to where he was one of 10 Bitcoin people attacked in a cyber attack. Did I ever tell you about this?
No.
Insane. He's like on the phone with the guy that's hacking him while the guy is hacking him.
I'm terrified.
Dude.
That's terrifying.
And then he's telling me, and he's like, well, basically, he's like, actually, the guy had me, but he didn't know that he had me. And he also didn't know how much I was worth. He was like, and so I paid him.
Really?
He caught a hacker mid-hack, and he found him, figured out who he was, and he called him, and he said, I'll pay you a certain amount of money to stop. And he paid him, and he stopped. And then he went back through, and then he became a cybersecurity expert.
Oh my gosh. Dude, so smart. Well, back to Silk Road.
Sorry, yeah.
I think it's funny how many stoners bought Bitcoin to buy weed, didn't know they had this money, and they made a bunch of money off that stuff.
I know, right?
Like, there's got to be so many guys who are like, wait, I might have a Bitcoin somewhere.
Or like one of the my favorite things that we used to do back in the day, whenever I was this buddy of mine, we were out at a restaurant, right? And we went and got dinner at a Huddle House,
right?
Which is like Waffle House of the Appalachians. And we were at Huddle House and we finished eating, and he goes, here, pay for my meal, but I'll send you this in Bitcoin.
What year was this?
2013, 2014.
Uh-huh.
And this is on a wallet that I actually lost contact with, that I can't touch anymore. Which it probably, I don't know how much it would be, but probably like
$8 worth of Bitcoin back then.
Well, I here's the thing that like poisons my brain the tiniest bit. I want to say that the number that he used was like 0.14. Which is not no Bitcoin, not nowadays. It's actually a pretty decent amount. Yeah. So that was probably $15 worth of Bitcoin back then. And
bro, that's okay though. I think we all have those stories.
And so yeah, but I mean that's on a. I think that was like, there was like wallets before Coinbase that I used, and there was like one that I might have had $20.
And don't quote me on this, but I think it's what 25% of all Bitcoin's lost forever.
A decent amount. That exactly.
It's a good amount.
It's probably somewhere closer to 20 than 25, but yeah.
Man, that's still.
I mean, it's pretty up there. I'm like in the early days. That's all it was for years. That's part of the reason I'm saying the thing about Bitcoin Cash too. Is like Bitcoin Cash doesn't have 20% of its of its market just like not in existence, which is not necessarily the worst thing because you can't inflate Bitcoin, which is part of the good thing about it because it's a finite amount. Right. But still, feels like there's a lot of gray area that like the only way for Bitcoin to be devalued ever would there would be for there to be a known certain amount of Bitcoin, and then suddenly there's a lot more because somebody found some.
Right.
And
Or
that's
there's like an issue like a double spend,
Right.
or quantum computing figures out how to.
Something along those lines. But as far as like what an average Joe of person could do to like mess up any or like change your value within Bitcoin is basically just have some that nobody thought existed, and then be like, it is here.
Wow.
And then that can actually bring everybody else's value down.
So do you have any non-crypto investments?
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
No.
Do you not believe in like traditional?
Not that I don't believe in it. It's just I mean, it's 2021 is a hard year to believe in much of like it's actually pretty insane to me that the market hasn't buckled at all or hasn't responded accurately at all to this COVID thing.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy.
And the fact that it's getting to this long is like that worries me. Like, I remember we were talking, our deepest projections last year were like, oh, we bet it's going to be a rug pull in January. Like I was talking to some friends, and that was like the furthest out prediction of everybody thought. And this was March of last year. It was like the furthest prediction was January next year. We're going to be like, it's obvious. It went on the dip March last year, and it came back up, and they were like, it's going to keep going up. It's going to go above all-time highs. And then January of next year is going to rug pull everybody out. And it's basically like they send you all the stimulus money, you put all this money into the market, and then it goes up. And then all the hedge funds pull it out, and then it's basically like the government just gave the hedge funds money instead of you. So that's basically happens, what we assumed was going to happen. The scariest thing is that it seems like they're going for an even deeper play. And what that means is only like the only reason you like hold your hand at that sort of situation is like, you got something. Like you know what I mean? Like you don't hold that far into the game unless you really got something. Not with that much on the line.
I'm such a firm believer. You look at the S&P 500 over 100 years, it always graduates. It ebbs and flows.
Well, sure,
obviously.
Dude. If you told a child to just draw a line and go like that, they could do it. Right. That's what they're doing. Like it's that non-linear. Like it seems linear, but if you like put any sort of different lenses of like inflation over that, it's like here's a great website if you like finance. Yeah. Have you ever looked at WTF happened in 1971?
Isn't that when it had a big market crash?
Ooh. Just go back and
hold
on for our next episode. For the time that me, you, and Tyler come back, we'll have a small conversation about this because I know that Tyler won't actually read this much stuff. You might actually, you might actually read this. Go to WTFhappened1971.com and just look at that, and then like do some research about like around that time and like see what was going on, and just like try to in your mind go like, oh no.
The thing that's hard though is if you're not investing in that stuff, you're losing out.
In what?
Because like, okay, like
you talking about the S&P and things?
Yeah.
Oh, as far as like, if I were a millionaire, I'd probably have a different take.
Got it.
Like I at a certain point, like you have to be able to hold your assets to the degree that everybody else is holding their assets. Right.
Because with inflation and things, asset prices are going up, real estate's
going
up.
Exactly. So like you have to maintain within all of that. So I'm not saying that like, it's one of those things where it's like, if I had more, I'd do more. But for the level of minimal amount that I'm just dealing with right now.
You're going in on Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah.
I will say though, last March when the market tanked, I was terrified. I mean, I took a big hit, but I also bought in super hard.
Of course.
Super hard.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
like, you know what?
Yeah, you should have.
Warren Buffett said, I guess when everyone's fearful, you don't want to be greedy. What's the phrase? Be greedy when everyone's fearful, be fearful when everyone's greedy. Right. So that was kind of my mindset.
It's like an inverse greed fear.
Okay, Warren Buffett, I'm just going to push all this money in. And it was literally at the bottom. Yeah. And then it just started shooting up. I'm like, okay, riding it up. It's like a 35% return.
I mean, that's solid. Over the year or over?
Since last March.
Nice. That's awesome.
It's crazy.
I mean, how much did it actually fall? Like in total, the S&P in March?
I couldn't tell you.
Was it over 30%? It was the biggest fall ever, right?
I don't know. I just remember it was a massive fall.
I mean, it was insane.
And I remember, like, I'm part of all these investing groups. Everyone's like, wait for the double dip. It's going to double dip. And it never did.
It never double dipped either.
And I want to go back to them and be like...
These are, but they're not wrong. Like, these things, if it was humans doing this, if it weren't fixed, if the game weren't fixed,
Bitcoin Cash.
This is exactly what would be happening. So they're not wrong. It's like, that's the hard thing is like, that's not wrong.
But you kind of got to play the game.
No, you do. And that was one of the bigger things that I learned from doing the day trading stuff. And that's part of the reason I stopped doing it. Yeah. Was I was like, dude, I am not trying to make money because Jay Powell wants me to. Like that's not what I want to do.
So actually, in the midst of all the chaos last year in the fall, like there was a lot of chaos going on. Obviously,
Oh yeah, for
COVID,
sure.
the world was falling apart.
The world's
election.
been insane lately.
I bought like a ton of like physical medals.
Well,
like
I bet they
gold
probably
and
did.
silver. That actually,
Did you do it? When did you get them? Last fall, you said?
Yeah,
That's
they've
probably too late.
done.
If you'd
really
have done it in the
poorly.
spring, you might have made some money.
No, that was my biggest loss to date.
That's
Also
one of those.
bought-
That's like buying Bitcoin in 2017 or whatever.
I know. It was a bad time.
Yeah, do you know that how many people are out there that have played Bitcoin completely wrong?
Oh, they're so pissed. They bought it at like 17K back in 2017, sold it.
Yeah, sold it.
Watching what's happening now.
Oh god, they sold it at 12K, and then they're like, "Ugh," then it went back up to 20, and they're like, oh great, and then it went down to say it's like 18.
I
Like,
know,
well, I
they're
missed
like,
it
"Oh."
again. And sold it, went up to 60.
That's what you're just gonna buy and hold on.
Yeah,
like,
dude. This
follow
is
your
exactly. This is
conviction.
what I said about like just I bought a little bit and I held it for that long.
That's
it's
a
like
good mindset.
nobody actually did that. Like I don't know if anybody
Yeah,
else
you're
that
an
just
anomaly
did that.
because I
Like,
would have been out.
And if I would have put more money in, I probably would have been out earlier. Because I probably
Yeah.
would have thought that it would have been. Because it probably would have been more something that I would have needed to take seriously.
Right.
Like if I would have put. So I might have done a couple $100 tops at the time. Like I was a college student, I just put a couple $100 into it. If I'd had, imagine like $3,000.
Bro, you wouldn't be sitting here right now.
I mean, I'd be sitting somewhere.
You'd be sitting, yeah.
It would be.
I'd have one of your chairs too. We both have a gamer chair.
Hey, that is a gamer chair.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
It
It's
is.
cool.
Hey, that is an aged-in chair. I'm gonna get another chair. You know what I actually wanted to do? I couldn't decide whether or not I liked it. The frame seemed weird, so I was gonna use this recliner over here. It's not the shot. Sorry.
I feel like you'd be really low though.
That's the thing. And I built this. Like I actually lowered this table a little bit so that it would.
Wait,
like,
you built this table?
No, I didn't build the table.
Okay.
I lowered the table. I almost said I built it, but I didn't.
Okay.
I lowered the table. I just cut off some of the legs a little bit.
Yeah, you're pretty handy.
Yeah, thank you. Don't call me custodian.
Canaan was our custodian in our group. He did janitorial work.
Dude,
for
it's
us.
so funny. Whenever all your friends just make music and do nothing of have no practical skills at all.
I know we're so worthless.
It is insane, bro.
Tyler
Like,
and I are both good at like two things.
here's what I know. If the world ever hit the shit, like really, and it was all up in flames or whatever, there would be two people at my door. And they'd
have
be like,
all-
"Hey, we're going, and
With
you're
a
coming with
Bitcoin
us."
wallet
Yes,
and like
yeah.
one bottle of water. Like,
How do we do
Canaan,
it?
what do we do?
Like it would be no, but like, yeah, it's especially. I feel like I don't want to crap on Tyler too much while he's not here, but he's such a. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, all that to say,
can we talk about the time that you borrowed his moped and crashed?
I didn't crash.
Weren't you run over or something?
Oh wait, never mind. I crashed a little bit.
You did crash because
So-
Tyler owns two mopeds. What are they? Scooters or mopeds?
So he had
They're nice.
a motorcycle, like a real motorcycle that I think he still has.
I'm glad
And-
you didn't borrow that. You
No,
did.
I'm not much of a motorcycle person, really. I like the scooters because I don't want to get on the highway. Like the reason I liked it was because I used to work out with him, and I lived on the south side, like barely on the south side of Nashville. He lived like barely on the north side of Nashville, and so I would always drive through the city. But every morning I'd have to take the highway, and this was pre-COVID or whatever, and I'd have to like take like 40 or whatever, and it would just take forever. So if I had his scooter, I could just drive straight through the city, and I could just do whatever.
How fast would it go?
I mean, the scooter? I could take it on the highway if I wanted to. You could
Really? Does it go?
Yeah, I did it one time. I took the scooter on the highway.
I can't imagine.
Terrifying. Dude, that was because you know how you just like you don't think about every part of a thing.
Right.
Like I got onto the highway and it's already dark, and also I'm getting on the highway and then I see in front of me I'm on 440 and I'm like, oh yeah, bro, there's potholes.
Yeah, you would die.
I would die.
You would
Like you actually
die.
just die.
You'd fall off and get run over.
Yes. And I was like, like it didn't even hit me until I was on the. I remember the feeling. I was like, oh my god, dude! If I hit a pothole, it's game over.
It is game over.
I was like, we are playing Frogger in real life with my life right now.
You better show
And it
me
was
where
like
your wallet's
Friday.
at.
This was like Friday night because the only reason that I even did it was because I had the scooter and we all went to Jenny's at like 12 South or whatever, and then we went somewhere else. And wherever else we went, everybody else was in cars except for me.
Right.
So I was like, I gotta follow him, go wherever we're going,
gosh.
because I couldn't watch a fucking
I know.
like a GPS or anything. So I had to follow them. So I was on this moped. Oh my god, dude, I was so terrified. Like like I feel like being on a motorcycle going 70 or whatever wouldn't feel as bad, like a full size motor. But dude, this thing is like, it's a moped. It's like remember that movie with Hilary Duff and that Italian dude?
Was that one where she's a boxer?
Well, yeah, she's like a singer. She's like the singer girl in like Italy.
I never saw it.
Oh, you never saw it? I can't remember what it's called. But she's like a singer girl in Italy. It's like all those Italian moped things. Like you see riding around in Rome, like this, like if you had a girl on the back that could squeeze you, and it would be like too much. Like that would be the whole thing. Yeah. Like that's what it was. It was like one of those. So okay, the very first time that he let me take it, he had like a different rental property down the street that he was renting, and someone had used it that was staying there or something like that. So it was at that place. So it was 2 or 3 blocks down the road. So I walked down there, and I've never been on this thing before, and it's on a hill, which is not great.
Yeah, not great.
And it's facing the wrong way on the hill. So it's like, it's up the hill and it's facing up the hill, but I got to turn around and go back down the hill to go the way that I'm going back to his place. And so I don't even get it, the thing turned. I don't even get the thing turned on all the way, but like I'm like trying to move it, and then I get it turned on. I'm like, okay. And then I'm just trying to get it turned around, and then I'm like, all right. And then it feels okay. I get on it after I like get it like pointed down the hill. And I feel the brakes, and I'm like wobbling. I'm like, okay, that doesn't seem too bad. And like in my brain, the way that the thing would work is like you'd sit on it, and it would be like driving. Yeah. Well, but also it was like you zoom, and then you turn, and it didn't seem that hard. So I get up there, zoom, and I try to go what, and just nothing happens.
What?
And I was like, wait, what? And then I was zooming, and then I was like,
were you neutral?
No, I was moving, but it wouldn't like turn. Oh. And it's because what you have to do is you like lean.
You have to lean.
You have to like put your weight or whatever. But no one said a word about any of that before I got on this moped. And so I was just in my mind thinking I had to turn. So I'm going, I feel pretty good because I'm going down 2 blocks. I do the first block. There's like nothing. It's just one street, no cars. Feels pretty open. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Get to a stop sign. Stop. Ooh, okay. I just went straight. I got down the hill, stopped, went straight. Cool. I was like, all right, here we go. So I'm like, okay, put a little juice. Zoom. And I go. And then I'm going, and I'm like, okay, cool. But the road, you know how like sometimes roads like almost bowl up a little bit in the middle? It was kind of like that. It was like bowled up just the tiniest bit. And so like the natural curvature was kind of like pushing me out a little bit, which is normal. Yeah. But there's cars parked on the side of the road.
Yeah, obviously.
And so I'm gently moving towards these cars because I started pretty close to the veer. Yeah. And I'm moving gently, and I'm just like, yeah, and nothing happens, and I'm just moving gently at them, and I'm just like freaking out. I'm like, okay, I'll get this, and it's like, eh. And then at one point, I must have like put more weight on my right side to push to like go forward like that, and I did that, and then it really started going. Yes. And then I was like, what is even going on? And so then I hit the brakes, and as I'm hitting the brakes, I'm like looking, I'm like, I'm gonna hit this, and it's a broken down SUV that has been sitting there for apparently 2 months that I ran into the back of. And then I ran into the back of it, and I fell off the thing. I fell off the moped, and I just like left the moped. Like it didn't really hurt the car. It was more my leg. My leg took
more your pride,
and my pride was the biggest hurt. But my leg was a little hurt because I didn't want to hurt the moped, right, or the car really. But I was really more afraid about the moped.
That's very selfless.
Yeah. Well, no. It was more of like reactionary. I don't want to pay for this. That was really what it was. It was like I would rather just hurt a little bit than be out of a few $1,000s. So I like fell off of it or whatever, get back up, and I'm like, that is, I'll tell you what, man, it is a weird feeling having had that just happen. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, I feel like I should tell someone, but also I feel like I've just hit the one part, like the one car that is parked in all of Germantown that no one's gonna give a fuck about me hitting. Like I don't think that anyone's gonna come and be like, I can't believe you tagged this. I mean, it was broken down. It was literally a broken down SUV parked on the side of the road, like in front of somebody's house. Yeah. And I kind of forgot that I did that. So the thing that I thought you were talking about was a different time. I was on the moped, and I learned to ride it at that point.
Okay, good.
And I was out in the world. I was at a stoplight, and a windstorm out of nowhere. You know how sometimes Nashville do that?
Yeah, they're
just
crazy.
throw a storm at you, like really out of nowhere.
It's probably March.
Beautiful day. Yeah, it's like springtime. Beautiful day. It's like 75. Got a t-shirt on, helmet on, riding the moped, riding the scoot, and I'm at Demumbrian and 8th, where that big right in between like the big hotel and the Music City Center, sitting right there, and I just hear it was an insane, like almost tornado sort of sound of wind, of like you could just hear wind like at a really high capacity out of nowhere. And I turn around and you could kind of see like a dust sort of thing. It almost looked like a dust storm because it wasn't raining. It was just wind. And I saw it coming. I was like, oh my God. And then it kind of got to us. And I was like, whoa. And then out of nowhere, a trash can blows from
I remember
from I can't remember which side it blew
like
from.
a city trash can.
Yeah, like a city trash can, and flew and rammed into the side of me in that moped, hit my leg and the moped, knocked me over again in the middle of traffic. And here's the other thing. I am in a line of cars about 20 long.
So there's some witnesses.
Not only is there witnesses, this trash can found the only guy it could hurt. And dude, it was the most insane
It's
thing.
like, you better recycle.
That is true. Oh my gosh.
Bro, that is funny.
Dude,
I would have loved to have
I remember
witnessed
I
that.
pulled off the side, and I think Tyler was waiting on me because we were going to work out or something. And I tried to I didn't FaceTime him. I sent him a voicemail thing. That's what it was. Because we always use those audio messages.
Yeah.
And so I sent him one, and it's just, hey Tyler,
I've been hit by a trash can.
you won't believe it. I know to you it probably looks like a sunny day outside, but actually a trash can just flew and smashed me and your moped. And it didn't do serious. I got a small cut on my leg, and it was bruised a little bit, but the bike on the moped there was a guard for a plastic guard for the exhaust area that I completely messed up.
The trash can messed it up?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But then probably 3 months after that, there was when that moped got stolen.
Oh, I forgot it.
Remember that? And then it was and then it got recovered 6 months after that and was in a lot. And then 6 months after that, he went and got it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude, did you miss all that?
So what's funny is there's a lot of moped issues, but Jason.
Oh, okay.
He was,
I think you meant J-Lo.
No, not
you
J-Lo.
meant our J-Lo.
Our J-Lo, a friend of ours. We had a co-write plan for one day. We're going to write a song. It's the middle of summer. And he's 30 minutes late, and he shows up drenched in sweat. He said the moped had died on the way to my house, and he pushed it for 2 miles. Can you imagine in the
2 miles?
Summer heat? Yeah.
See, but this is...
All these moped issues.
Lucrecio also is the sweetest guy that will push a moped for 2 miles.
I know. I'd have been Tyler, come get your trash.
Dude, it's yours. Your thing broke and I did nothing wrong. You should fix it.
Yeah, I'm gonna see you later. I gotta call an Uber.
Dude, he's such a sweet guy. I hope that I told him probably 2 months ago. You know what's funny? I saw him. I was walking out of this Walmart and I walk outside and I don't see him. He sees me. And I just hear, Canaan Richard. You know how it is.
That's every time.
And I look over and it's Jason Lucrecio. And he's with 2 other people in the Walmart parking lot, seemingly just kicking it.
Kicking it.
In the big kicking it in the Walmart parking lot. And I was like, what is happening?
That's
so I
amazing.
walk up to him and there's 2 people in the front seats of this sedan. And in the back seat of the sedan, sticking out of each side, you can kind of see, is a TV that they just bought. And
are they watching it or is it in the box?
He goes, it's in the box. And he goes, yeah, we just bought this TV for a shoot, but it won't fit in my car. So we're waiting on our friend to come with their bigger car.
They're not just hanging.
They're not just hanging out there.
Okay.
But it almost it felt very believable in the moment of this would be the thing.
Because it makes you wonder how does that come out? How do you end up just hanging in the
Yeah, I
Walmart
know.
parking
That was
lot?
I was especially a dude I know that him and his girl, they all have places.
Right.
It's not
Right.
it's not like you have to be. It's not like we're
And
in
he's
high
also
school again.
newly married. I don't know if he was married at the time. But
No. This was probably a month before he got married.
wow.
But yeah, he is fresh and married. Congratulations to a great lady.
Yeah. Are you getting married anytime soon? Do you date?
Do I date? A little bit.
I remember one time you were driving Uber,
Oh, yeah, back in
And
those
you
days.
met a girl through that, and you asked her out.
I did. That was the one time that ever happened. I only ever did it once. It was, and I think I wanted to do it.
I feel like that's against the policy.
You know,
Like, I feel like you broke some terms and conditions.
I don't know if it is technically against the policy
Like,
or
Lyft,
not.
it's kind of Wild West, but Uber.
No. I was Lyft.
Oh, you were Lyft.
I was
Okay,
Lyft.
okay.
I wasn't. I never even really did Uber. I let you say the Uber thing, but
Like,
I don't
how
really
did you
care
even
about.
reach her after the fact? Did you have her number?
No, it was like an Instagram. We talked a lot. That was the
okay.
thing. Like
Okay.
we had a really good conversation, and I was about to kind of be done with the Lyft thing.
Okay.
And I had never done the. Shut up, David. Fucking producer. No, so we had a nice conversation or whatever.
So did she? This is pre-COVID. So
I'm
did
trying
she
to
sit in
remember-
the front or the back?
She sat in the back.
Was that standard? Because I always felt weird sitting in the
No,
back.
I felt it was pretty normal because it was the more comfortable thing, especially in my car. Because I would just roll the front seat up and keep shit in the front seat
I would
and
say-
let them sit like here to where I could always kind of take an angle and peek and they could see like my face, but it's like back there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like that's a pretty easy way to have the conversation. I almost don't like having the front seat conversation.
See,
Like,
I
the
like
front seat
looking for
conversation
silver
is too much.
linings, and obviously COVID's been terrible, but one silver lining is it's normalized sitting in the back of an
I have
Uber.
an Uber, yeah. Nobody wants to sit in the front anymore.
All my Uber friends, my friends who drove Uber were like, no, you should sit up front. Like, it's weird. Like, no, I don't like that.
No.
Like, when I'm in an Uber, I want to
like it's because they're trying to act like they're not at work.
I know, they're trying
like
to
it's the most insane thing. It's
Yeah.
like you are at work.
you're totally working.
Stop making them smell you. Like
Yeah.
like it is the worst thing in the world
Yeah.
to
And I gotta like check my Twitter. Like, this is my time to like get
Right.
on social.
and like if you're ever doing anything and if you're ever trying to multi-manage anything like
Right.
on your phone while you're doing your job of Lyft or whatever, you just like you can't if they're sitting right there.
Right.
Like or it'll seem really weird if you're
Right.
like on your phone ever.
Yeah.
Not to say that I was on my phone a lot.
risking our lives.
Yeah, no. But if you're like at a stoplight or something, do something real fast with the phone.
Right.
Do something with whatever.
So other than hitting on your rides,
Oh no, I never
What,
did that.
any other
No,
weird-
okay. So no. So this girl, I'm not gonna let you guys.
Okay.
I'm not gonna
Now
let
that
you
we've
guys.
covered all of that,
I'm
let's
not gonna
move
let you
on.
guys. No. Okay. So this, I never. No. Actually, I turned down more opportunities than I probably could have tried a little harder. But it was one of those things
with her or
no,
another
no, no,
girls?
no, no. With just like randomness.
Okay.
Like there were nights where you could just be like, if I didn't want to, like if I didn't need to still be working, I could probably stop and do something with this, and this might be fun.
Yeah.
But I never really did. Because like you don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was always like you literally have to leverage yourself out of working to do whatever you're like about to do.
Yeah.
And like whether or not it's worth losing your income to
Right.
do what you're about to do. So like that was
Right.
always in the back of my brain. So I
Right.
didn't really, with the girl stuff, I wasn't flirty.
You were
I
there
never
for business.
Some people are out here like giving people weed in Ubers. I was like, no.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, a comic buddy of mine, he goes, we were out at a mic the other night and we were about to finish up and he's leaving and we were talking about weed and he's like, yeah, I just got a little bit left. I was like, oh yeah? And he's like, yeah, I keep it for my last rider. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, dude, that's what I do every night. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, every night because every night my last Uber ride, I roll a joint and I share it with who's ever there. They give me a massive tip every time.
Bro, that is so funny.
And I was like, dude.
Hopefully it's not a DEA agent. or
I know.
something.
Well, I wish. Well, that was also, I mean, 2 weeks ago they told me that. I bet that probably wouldn't have flown in 2016. You know what I mean? Like
okay.
it probably would have been a little bit tighter.
Yeah.
Back in like right when I was
Right.
doing it.
Right.
Like when I was really driving.
Right.
So there's that. But all that to say, I have a beautiful friend of ours, Adrian. He for the shortest time when we first moved to Nashville, he drove for Lyft.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, for like 2 months. Whenever we very first moved here, and he had a BMW at the time.
Yeah, that's a nice ride to be doing Uber.
And he I think he got a flat or he hit a pothole or something on the interstate or on the highway, and and this girl that was in his car like felt awful that it happened since it was like on her ride, and apparently she was just a dime, and she was just like she was like, hey, I feel so bad, why don't you just stay with me?
Wait, stay with her?
Yeah. And like
That's quite an invite.
like wanted to get her home, figure out how to get her home basically, because I think it was to the point where his car, he didn't have a spare or something, so he was gonna have to get towed or something BS like that. So she was like, just send it and come with me or whatever. But he had a girlfriend. So he couldn't. Okay. But yeah. So I mean, it definitely happens. Not to say that like the lift interaction and like some bachelorette party things.
Right.
My favorite thing, honestly, about the lift thing, bachelorette parties were hilarious.
Oh, I imagine.
Not because they thought that they were funny. They were not funny for the reasons they thought they were funny. My favorite thing was that every single time you got for my car, right? Because I drove like a little sedan or a little hatchback, so I can only take tops 4 or 5 people, which is never enough for a full bachelorette party.
Never.
But it's perfect for a little segment of them that like each other, and then we'll talk shit about the ones that they don't like. And dude, when I tell you how often that happened, where you're in a sedan and you get like 4 or 5 out of the bachelorette party, and it's like, and it's just like they get in and like, okay, bye, and then it's a countdown from 10, because what they're always talking about right when they first get in is where they're going. It's like, let's say they're going to Biscuit Love. It's like they get in and shut the door, 10 Biscuit Love, 9 Biscuit Love, 8 Biscuit Love, down to 1, and then it's I hate Tiffany. And then, dude, it was just every single time. It was just, I could not believe how consistent that was. It was it was insane. It was the most insanely consistent thing that I couldn't believe that I would see all the time. Was that like, it was like half of a bachelorette party would be in, and before the end of the ride, I would say honestly probably 70% of the time before the end of the ride, they were talking shit about the other half.
Bro, that's so funny.
We good? Okay, cool. Actually, how long have we been going?
An hour and a half.
Are we seriously?
Wow.
Dude. Huh? Oh, that might have just died. You mind if we take a quick break? We might even be done. But I'll probably want to wrap up with...
Okay, we can say...
Canaan.